first intake of students was September 2009. But the planning for iSci started a lot earlier than that. So we started about at least 2 years before that.
I started as a vision from the Dean of Science at the time, John Capone, and he wanted to create an undergraduate program where students learned by doing research and in a way that was relevant to society. So in other words, interdisciplinary, because questions that are relevant to society require a interdisciplinary perspective.
So we spent about 6 months discussing the idea of the program, decided that it was a good idea, and we decided that we'd move ahead with an actual programming committee.
After the decision was made, I think around 2007, that the program is a go, so it took us about 2 years of meetings, retreats, conversations, to figure out how actually to do the whole thing. And in my view, that was actually a very exciting time.
When we designed the program, now I wasn't the first one part of the design team, but when Sarah Simmons and I came in, we really wanted it to be students that were willing to think outside the box. I know that's pretty cliche now. Ask questions, not be afraid. Collaborate, and then learn in a new way. Not being afraid to try something new, learn by asking questions, and pursue their view and their path in science and scientific research.
And this involved, as I recall, locking us in an office, the two of us together, for nearly 6 months with an infinite supply of post-it notes, and just mapping out how it would fit together.
We had to figure out how to put all the content of the first year, more or less, into one course, and most important, how to integrate. RPs were constructed with that thought in mind. We'll try to involve as much as we can from different disciplines and see how it goes. And initially, research projects try to emulate that. So to have a problem where you would have to really have multidisciplinary approaches. So not just say math and physics, but also math and physics and biology and chemistry and geology and everything else. So there was always some discipline which kind of dominated and others that were around, which I think is a good compromise. And because so much effort went into those, RPs have not changed over time.
All of the research projects have remained in the same general subject areas. However, the exact focus or angle in those research projects changes. And some of the topics we work on are so relevant and up to the minute that every year there's something different has happened. And famously, we had to change our first level 1 project, which was originally planning a mission to Mars because, well, NASA kind of did the mission that we were planning. We have to keep moving because science keeps moving. Mm-hmm. Science literacy was in from the beginning of the planning of iSci before I arrived in the program. But also in the first year that iSci ran, Andrew Colgoni arrived in the library and formed this kind of dream team of a faculty member and a librarian, which, in fact, in its scope, is unusual in the university. Now, add that to a mix of students who come in from high school thinking we don't know what science literacy is and is it useful to us or not, and then who seem to leave the program thinking that science literacy is perhaps iSci's secret weapon. I don't know, I might be biased about that. And it's been wonderful to put this together and to see the difference it makes.
Grand Venture started, it was mainly an idea by Russ. Originally there was a program that's still going on called Moose, and we found that some iSci students would go on it, but not all iSci students would go on it. They didn't get as much out of it as they thought because they didn't know what university was going to be like, and we needed time to get questions sort of, spawned. So that's why Grand Venture started, and it's the second or third week in September, was to make it a just iSci thing, this really sort of intimate, get-to-know-you type experience, this bonding experience for the students and faculty staff.
Synthesis happened when our first cohort of students began getting all the way through the program, started doing thesis, and we were thinking about how those thesis presentations go. And being iSci, we thought, well, we know what thesis presentations are like in the rest of the university, but how can we build on this and what can we make a difference? We really wanted to glue the program together through the levels of the program so that a first year student would see the fourth year's presentations and be able to understand, well, that's going to be me. In a few years' time, that's going to be me. This is what I can do. Also, because of the science literacy component and this modelling of this is what scientists do, well, what do? They go to conferences and they help organise conferences, or they participate in peer reviewing abstracts for conferences. Can we model that? So that was the basis of synthesis, as being just another example of bringing into the programme real-world experiences for our students. Our students just took that and basically ran with it. There were all sorts of things that even happened in the first year that the high school workshop, for example, originally ran within the synthesis week. That was completely a student idea. And it's kind of blossomed, and now it's this amazing end-of-year event that I think we all really, truly do look forward to.
I think iSci is unique in the culture it creates within the program itself. The community, I think, is very, very important, and it's very different to the communities or the lack of communities that you may find in other areas. I think we pride ourselves on our connections with our students, that we know our students, we can talk to them, we understand where they're kind of coming from, and I hope they feel the same about us, that we're all part of this learning environment together. We're in it together. It's a team effort from all of us, and I think that's what makes the iSci program quite unique, in that I think it's a shared journey for all of us.